Shut up and sit down.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fight for Liberty show. Tonight, I have a good Twitter friend, and we found out later on, actual friend in real life, too. Magnus Panvidya. Good sir, welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. I'm actually like I just not too long ago finished recording with Dan Taxationist Theft Berman. Also, I'm kind of like riding a high from that conversation and just life in general. It's been a good week so far.
I have a lot of respect for him just for the fact that, like, when I'm always sitting there yelling, like, libertarians, go do libertarian shit. Like, Dan is definitely one of those dudes. Like, Dan is like, okay, I'm just going to go commit a crime.
Right.
And help the people. And I don't give a shit. And it's like, fuck yeah, Dan.
I'm just gonna go smuggle insulin from Mexico into Texas and then sell it for $12 a bottle
on a live stream with like
on a live
stream security.
Right. This guy fucking gets it. Yeah, I was fired up to get to talk to him. It was legitimately one of the best episodes I've ever recorded. Just a great conversation. He knows shit about shit that I thought I knew about and don't, apparently. Like, I actually took classes to be a tax preparer and he was schooling me on tax law.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. When I think like next week is when I'm gonna start like my own just personal show outside of the UVA, because the UVA is a very like specific, targeted kind of program. Besides last week when I had you on, because that was just like all of my co-hosts are like delivering babies and like doing crazy shit. So what do I do last second, But yeah, I want
Fight for Liberty and Liberty Lockdown. That's what you do.
Yeah, pull my boys on. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having him as like a first guest, because he's, I have like North Stars, I like to call them, like people that I'm like, I'm going to hold up as an example and be like, this is actually possible. You can't deny it's possible. Here's this person doing it. And he's one of them. So I'd love to have him on, talk to him.
Yeah, he's been on my list of people to ask since I started the show, and didn't get the balls to actually ask until probably about a month and a half ago. And we were gonna do it, but that was while he was in Texas, like handing out shit while they were frozen and flooded and lights out and everything. So that didn't end up working out. And then it took me a little while to like reconnect and finally get him on the show. But yeah, he's been up there. I actually said at the beginning of the episode, I was like, when I first learned about libertarianism, it was the yellow hat and the boot. It was like, it was Gary Johnson, and then it was the yellow hat and the boot.
Nice. Yeah. Did he bring up any of the stuff he's doing with like the redacted caucus and like my boys down in Texas, or am I spoiling something right now?
He actually didn't talk about them, but
okay, then we will go into it then.
I got Trent on to the show tomorrow though, from the redacted caucus.
Yeah, he'll be able to inform you. There's some very interesting shit going on. It's so funny, like the Boogaloo is like probably one of the most like diverse movements ever in terms of like how many all the pies we have our fingers in and all the shit we're doing. Like, people don't kind of see behind the scenes of just like how much shit's actually going on, and that's definitely part of it. So I'm super excited for what those guys are doing.
Yeah, they're doing some unity stuff to a realer, more tangible level than the Unity Coalition or the Unity Caucus are.
Yeah, they're getting in there, which is cool.
Which I'm an active member of both of those things, and actually a founding member of one of those things. So I'm excited to see what they're doing down there. Unity is winning. Unity is actually fucking winning somewhat. It's hard. It's hard to tell.
It's I definitely like as an on the ground person, it's crazy how much is happening. Like especially this Saturday we have the event in Lansing for Anthony Hulin. He was a man that was killed in Lansing jail under like the exact same circumstances as George Floyd. Like but this was like 6 cops in a jail and they literally just crushed this dude to death. And even like the coroner and everything was like, nope, this is what killed him. It wasn't the drugs, wasn't anything. Like you straight up just, crushed this man. And the event is going to be like probably one of the most diverse in surreal events ever. There's people from the Michigan Militia of Love, which is kind of just like a general like conservative militia, a little more progressive, but still like very much, right-leaning libertarian are going to be there. There's going to be Black Panthers there. There's going to be us there. There's going to be local BLM activists and BLM activists from all over the country that are traveling. And then there is several anti-fascist organizations that are also going to be there. And we're all like vibing and chilling together and already talking and everything's going to be cool. And it's like, okay, hey, shit, dude. Like it went from just UPG working with exclusively BLM and still like fighting with like anti-fascist groups and stuff like that in Louisville to like my very, very small, like no more than 20 people in Lansing working with BLM and anti-fascists to where now it's like we have North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisville, Texas, Michigan, Ohio. Like this idea is spreading, this crazy idea that almost everybody across the entire political spectrum is like, that'll never work. You'll never be able to get along with these people. They hate you. They blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, we're doing it. It's happening. So like sit and watch.
Yeah. And it's really telling where it's working and where it's not, because I kind of had that hesitation in my sentence about that unity is winning, because if you look at Twitter or you look at some of these state conventions and you look at these Facebook groups and you look at the LP from the quote unquote active members, it looks like unity is not winning, right? We just trended yesterday because we had a conniption fit over a fucking
a single tweet, bro.
Over a single tweet. Yo, I don't know if Dave Smith, I don't know if Dave is going to watch this video. I don't think that he watches most of my episodes, but I definitely like did some passive aggressive like sideline blow to Dave Smith in the DMs earlier today, because I said getting upset about a tweet is the softest shit you can do.
Yeah, like it's just
which was a direct reference to like the fact that like every single member of the Mises Caucus did that for like 4.5 months about a single fucking Joe Jorgensen tweet, and like, was equally soft and stupid.
It's just like move the fuck on. Like I personally agree with the Kentucky tweet, and I personally think the Nevada tweet was fucking AIDS. Guess what I'm not going to do? Probably talk about them anymore after tomorrow. I'm probably just gonna move the fuck on with my life, like because it's a tweet. Like I don't understand why people let this live rent fucking free in their mind. Like Nobody gives a shit about Twitter at all anywhere. It's an illusion. It's bullshit. So many people being like, oh, the Kentucky LP tweet just embarrassed and ruined the reputation of libertarians across the country. I'm like,
what reputation?
Okay, like for one, there's like barely 1 million active users on this fucking shit site. Okay. And then if you cut that down even further, probably only like 1/3 of them are giving a fuck about politics at all. And then you cut it down even more to maybe like an 18th even knew what that fucking tweet was. So it's like, you're talking about tens of thousands of people at the very most, and probably not even that, maybe like 5,000-6,000 people in general, and you're acting like this is the end of the fucking world. And it's like, dude, you have such an elevated sense of self-importance of this website.
Also, like, what reputation are they fucking ruining? The reputation of the James Week striptease party, or the reputation of Boot on Head party, or the reputation of the What is Aleppo party? Like, which party's reputation are we ruining here?
The fucking Boogaloo, the dorky Hawaiian shirt wearing fucking idiots that are running around the street. Like, again, yeah, like it's
I put my Hawaiian shirt on just for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I have exactly one that fits because I'm a mega poor and it's cold as fuck in Michigan now because Mother Nature betrayed us again. It was like 80 degrees and now it's like fucking 32 or some shit.
Right. It snowed today in New York.
That's haram, unacceptable.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't understand like the elevating it or making like big deals out of things I can do both to where like, yeah, I was in the mentions of both of those like for like 15 minutes talking shit. And then like I went to like going back to doing activism, like important shit to where like other people spent all fucking day and all fucking day to day, just like tweets and counter tweets and fucking blah. Like, it's like, how is this getting us more free? What are we doing here? How is this helping my neighbor right now? By bitching at each other on fucking Twitter.
Right. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, and I'll say something super radical. I agree with the Kentucky LP tweet and the Joe Jorgensen tweet.
Wild. You can't hold two fucking opinions at the same time.
No.
Are we talking about the original one that the Black Lives Matter one they threw a fucking
it's not enough to be not racist, we have to be actively anti-racist. I fucking actually kind of agree with that let me put it this way. At the time that tweet went out, I agreed with that tweet. Since then, I have changed my definition of the terms.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like it's people.
I'm gonna catch some flack for saying that shit.
Oh no, but that's just the thing too. Is people need to learn to ask people to define their fucking terms because they like. Ironically, they always talk about like, oh, the left is destroying language or whatever, but then you jump down Joe, assuming she was using like leftist language and just caused a biblical shitstorm when she even like tweeted after that, like in the replies and stuff like that, of like, this is what I mean by this, and it was a perfectly like tepid and fucking acceptable fucking take about what it means. But that didn't matter. People are still just retweeting the shit out of that and looking like, oh, the libertarians are fucking woke and stupid now, and it's like.
And we still have that now. I still hear that on a daily basis on Twitter, that when I'm trying to make a point, I'm trying to recruit someone, like win someone over for liberty, and they tell me that they would join the party, but we've gone Marxist or we've gone woke.
No, like the most popular person in the party right now is Dave Smith. Like,
right.
We've gone woke. Okay. Whatever you fucking say, buddy. It's just because the Overton window has like we're still, even though we're probably
it shifted like ever so slightly left in everyone that was actually just here. So I'll use the language of the loser brigade here for a second. We've shifted ever so slightly left to just accepting the left libertarians are human and that like trans people are human and that like black people are human, and just that ever so slight little shift to that has pissed off a lot of people who don't agree with those stances.
Like, we've always been a progressive party. We're pro-gay marriage in the fucking 70s, bro. Like, way before any of these motherfuckers. Like, of course, dude. And at the end of the day, it's not even like nothing has gone left about the economics, and it's gone very mildly fucking like left into like cultural, but very fucking mildly. And that's just mostly around like the trans and like police brutality issue. But that's again, that's always been there. It's just slightly updated, and it's never happened. And yeah, I'll never deny that there are annoying fucking woke libertarians that are more focused about chasing Dave Smith around for a joke he made or some shit than actually fighting for liberty. Yeah, they exist.
Or she flowered.
Yeah, like they exist, but like they're a fucking meme within like the movement. And guess what? Also, like, I am happy that they're there because we're a party of diversity of ideas. I'm happy that they're there. We can have civil debates about it. We can fucking treat each other and vote along same lines and not be fucking dicks about it. So from both directions, it's just like, oh, you allow those people? And it's like, yes, because this is the liberty fucking party. And guess what? Like, not everything that is conservative in the terms of like libertarian conservative is pro liberty. And just like everything on the left isn't pro liberty either. We took these ideas and put them together to form a third party. That's been the entire point from the entire fucking inception of everything. Like they literally invited fucking Murray Bookchin to the LP National Convention in like the 80s or something. The dude is an overt Marxist. And they had great fucking conversations. And it got to the point even where he even said, like, I consider you guys like closer friends than like the mega woke people that are trying to cancel me and calling me a petty bourgeoisie all the time. So like that's always been the LP. This isn't anything fucking new. It's just like I think the
Ron Paul and Rand Paul fucked it up for us though.
I think less Ron Paul and more Rand Paul, because Ron Paul even was like a lot of, he would be considered today, like if you updated him, if he was that age at this time period with the same kind of political culture, he would be considered way left, to someone compared to like the Trumpers or whatever. But
right.
Rand is different. Like Rand, and plus like the cringe shit like Ben Shapiro running around saying he's a libertarian, or like Trump saying he's a libertarian is totally fucking
yeah. I think I don't shit talk Ron Paul very often. But this what I'm gonna say is true, so I'll still say it anyway. What Ron Paul did was he fired people up for liberty, and then he took 2/3 of those people and went back to the Republican Party. And they stayed there. And they hopped on the next train, which was Trump. And I do not. A lot of people put this like correlation between Ron Paul and Donald Trump, and like that Ron Paul somehow created that or is responsible for that, or somehow should feel ashamed that 2/3 of his supporters ended up also voting for Donald Trump. I don't think he should. Like, I don't think that's on him. I think they had similar rhetoric, and that makes sense just psychologically. But him going back to the Republican Party and saying this is still legitimate, I think took us like 27 steps back. And although the other third of his followers, like Dave Smith, like Scott Horton, like Todd Hagopian, and fucking like most of the main people in the LP, like went on to do great things. Like I think Ron Paul hurt us by going back and running as a Republican again.
Say that I would have to push back on that, just for the fact that I think a lot of younger people like me and shit like that caught on to Ron Paul and only became a libertarian in concept and then later an anarchist because of Ron Paul. We weren't old. Even if we were old enough to vote, we didn't really give a fuck about politics. And then by the time we had got like politically engaged was like during the Trump era. And a lot of us were just like, oh, hey, this is the dude Ron warned us about, to where more of the people that were like in their like 20s and 30s when he originally ran were a lot of the people that jumped over to Trump. So I think like the seeds he planted are a little deeper than, just like that surface 2/3 that jumped over.
Yeah,
I also think he caused like another problem of like causing, I guess you could split into fourth, of causing an entire fourth of the voting block, for lack of a better term, to just leave electoral politics altogether and be like, this is bullshit and I'm never fucking voting again.
Yeah, now we're talking about Kerry Wedler, Michael Malice style people.
Yeah,
where we're just like, fuck all of this shit.
Fuck yeah,
honestly, I'm getting there.
Oh, I literally just put out a graphic that I spent all day making, and I'm
Which
pushing.
Was beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, I've never used like Photoshop or GIMP before. That was a fucking adventure. But
that thing you posted and tagged me in.
Did I tag you in it?
Well, because the thing you posted and then said that you're.
Oh no, that's just art. No, I posted this a new graphic. It should be like the second thing on my timeline.
Oh, the 4 weapons of the new revolution.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, no, I'm not that good. Holy fuck.
Okay, I was gonna say you did that. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, but
because that was beautiful.
But yeah, I threw that out, and I'm preaching the idea of counter electoralism, which is because I think there's an in between. Like, there's people that think that we can solve our problem with electoral politics by actually voting, like getting people in and like changing it from the inside. Hey, you show it. I don't think, like, me personally, I don't think that will ever work now. But then there's the other side, which is like, oh, we'll just never vote, never participate in electoral politics, don't care who's elected, don't be involved in any parties or anything like that. Just, fuck it and ignore it. The Michael Malice types.
Mm-hmm.
To where in between that, you have people like Vermin Supreme, where like Supreme is literally participating in politics to ruin and make a joke out of politics and like raise awareness from within politics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like counter electoralism to me. Like when that one electoral college member gave his electoral vote to like Soaring Liberty Eagle or something like that hit national news.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you could get like 100,000 people to vote for Harambe or some shit, and then be like, oh, there's a Harambe party, and then you go to the Harambe party website, and it's just like a bunch of like liberty, fuck the government, like information and everything. Well, you might have just reached people that you would have never reached before. So that's kind of my idea of like you using this free weapon.
I think he got like 500,000 votes in 2016, something
Harambe?
like that. Yeah.
But that's also kind of like what Kanye did. Like Kanye, I don't think he ever intended to win, but he knew that like running would throw a fucking spanner in the works and like bring up some conversations. And like a lot of people were talking about, would Kanye actually be a good it caused a shitstorm. So it's like, there might be a weapon here to use that we're not like thinking about.
Yeah,
I David with Kanye.
So Kanye pisses me off because Kanye could have been something great. Oh wow, I just broke 2K followers. Nice. I just clicked back over to Twitter because I wanted to show people the other graphic that I was mentioning also because it's beautiful. And I have 2,001 followers now.
Hey, I'm surprised you only have that many. What the hell? I need to help you out some more. I'm gonna keep sharing your shit. I don't know why I have 5,000 followers.
I'm pretty new to Twitter. That's fair. Okay, yeah, because Magnus shared this earlier, and this is just like a beautiful fucking imagery of like it kind of makes me feel a little.
It's from the French Revolution piece. I forget the name of it.
Katniss Everdeen would wear.
Yeah, it's based off a piece from the French Revolution. Gotcha. It's really famous of like a woman with like her breasts falling out, holding like a flag, like charging. And it's from a video game actually called Homefront: The Revolution. So I stole that because I wanted to kind of tease what I was doing of pushing this new kind of theory, because I caused a little bit of a shitstorm on Twitter today, being like all the ideologies everyone is super fond of are all bullshit because they're like 100 years old, and all these old dudes that were writing like before there was telegrams even, trying to like apply these ideologies and shit to like we're talking across the internet right now in real time, like
right.
So
fucking Ludwig von Mises doesn't know shit about StreamYard.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like the closest person when we consider like a popular philosophical thinker would be Bookchin, and he died before like there was ever like social media. So even then, like there's really no big like ideological heavyweight anywhere that you can fully apply to the modern world, because the internet has just changed everything. So it's like I still love,
That's why I like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's like I still love, the founding fathers. I still pull stuff from Bookchin and Mises and all these people. They had good ideas, and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Mm-hmm. But like Malice goes into it all the time of like we're operating based on pre-telegram ideology in a post-cell phone world. So it's like shit needs to update, like how we handle things, how we think about these things. The fact that Washington D.C. even exists when like Zoom exists, like why are we paying all this money for all these stuffy old people to stand in a room when like they could just do it from their actual like place they were elected and be held accountable in the place they're elected? Like why is my senator from Michigan in Washington D.C. when they could just be here talking to people in D.C.? Like there's so many things like that where it's like we need to update this shit.
yeah Oh yeah, that's something that I think it's one of the things that kind of drew me to libertarians, but the Libertarian Party lacks. We're definitely big on like playing the game And I'm a member of the Pragmatist Caucus, so like this is super hypocritical coming from me.
We know you. You're most critical of the things you're actively working on.
That's true. That's honestly, I'm the most hypocritical. Constantly, all the time. It's fine.
That's why we like
But the idea of like, you know, getting state legislators elected so that they can introduce legislation and then like speak in the hearing and then vote and then like get things passed and like reduce taxes and pass constitutional carry and like medical and recreational marijuana, and then maybe we can pull an Oregon and like decriminalize all drugs in 10 years. It's like we don't have fucking time for that shit.
Yeah,
we need to wake up millions of people.
Yeah, we should have been doing that shit like in 2011. And definitely like there's no like propaganda wing of the Libertarian Party. Like that is the place that
it's called the Mises Caucus.
Well, even then, like that is the place that we could dominate like the most fucking heavily, because like the DNC is the most boomer cringe shit ever, and then the Republican Party, all they have is like a couple Donald Trump style shit posters. Like whenever I watch Spike, like Spike's media team put out like fucking badass YouTube videos, and they're like making like music and shit, and obviously just everything Vermin does. It's like, could we just take that, which is the work of a very small group of individuals, and like blow it up? It'd be fucking amazing. Actually, like a new generation, like up to date modern marketing campaign for a political party. It doesn't exist for anybody. Nobody's doing that. And we already do it just on a tiny fucking scale. So it's like, let's do more of that.
Yeah, we're working on it. We are actually like, there are people out there who are working on stuff like that, but it's part of the problem is there's like 8 different groups of people out there working on it separately, which isn't helpful.
And nobody
but also
talks to each other.
Right. But also the alternative is for like LP National to get their shit together, which would require for them to be not really a libertarian party anymore, and to, be some top-down authoritarian national party, which is not what they are, and they're not that for a reason. So yeah, it's like it's a really weird fucking scenario that we have here, trying to like centralize and govern an ungovernable decentralized group of people.
And I mean, that's why the reason why, I personally don't participate in electoralism, and hanging out with, Fiorella and everybody on the left with like the Convo Couch and everything. I got a firsthand look of when they tried to set up their own third party, which was the People's Party out of California. And holy fuck, was that just like a rolling dumpster fire in a fucking bullshit tornado of drama. Like it's already fallen apart. So it's like, yeah, dude, like the actual left can't get their shit together, and the Libertarian Party can't get their shit together. And we're actively talking about like, chipping people for vaccine passports, and like banning the Second Amendment, and like going to war with Iran and Venezuela and Argentina and shit. And it's like, time's up. It's time to start doing like some post-electoral like revolutionary action kind of shit, which is why we exist. That's why I always say that like we're like the armed version, which is kind of obviously all libertarians are armed, but the armed front of all like the concept of libertarianism, of like, okay, well, we're gonna go do this shit. Like we're not gonna wait for permission anymore. We're just gonna make it happen.
All right, so yeah, let's get into the armed stuff. So I really wish you were on Fighting Friends like 2 weeks ago, because we had a really horrible conversation about Antifa.
Oh boy! Oh yeah, I watched that.
You watched? Yeah, that was pretty cringe from start to finish. I think I held my ground fairly well, but I'm a non-confrontational dude. I try to like be nice, especially with guests on my show.
You're wrong and stupid. Leave.
Like I wanted to pull a Spike Cohen and just be like, I'm gonna mute you. but I'm not. I'm not a little bitch, so I'm not gonna do that. But so yeah, let's talk about the fact that in real life, not on mainstream media, not online, not with fucking narratives and bullshit, but in real life, you are actively engaging with these types of groups. Uh, Tell me about that. Why? How's it working? And why is most of what we know about this group or not group wrong?
I just think like it's the same with almost everything in this country right now is always blown up on a national fucking scale, and people have just forgotten that like individuals are individuals, which is most hilarious with libertarians and people that are more libertarian right, because our whole ideology is based on individualism, yet we get real collectivists with groups of people real fucking fast. So like that's a problem. But like people will point to like Portland, and they will point to, you know, like California or New York, and they'll be like, well, see, these kids in black that don't call themselves Antifa, but we're going to call them Antifa, are running around doing bad things. And I'm like, okay, I see that. There's video evidence of it. That's true. Never deny it. But what about the people in Michigan? What about the people in Detroit? What about the people in Kentucky? Like, what are these people doing? Are they beating up like innocent people? Are they like, you know, burning down people's property or whatever? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, they're not. So it's like, okay, well, what's the difference there? You know, the conservatives and the media and everything will say they're the exact same people. So like, what's going on? And you start to realize that like that everyone's so different and everything going on is so different, to the point where even within states and sometimes even within cities, like there's chapters, for lack of a better term, of BLM in Michigan. There's like 4 of them, 2 of which fucking hate each other and will never work with each other. And they go about things radically different from each other. But if you watch the news, you'll never hear about that. You'll never know about that. You'll never understand what the fuck's going on. So pretty much like what I've done is just run around and actually, like, with my skills of diplomacy, I guess I have, like, actually talk to people and observe, like, what are people doing. And when I say I work with Antifa, like, I'm not running around with the people that are hitting Trump supporters over the head with bike locks. I'm running around with people that identify as vaguely the same as those people, but they're going about things differently. And that's kind of how I've made this work, is I keep using like the Avengers, you know, fucking analogy of like building a team of like the best of people from every single movement to like actually solve this problem. Mm-hmm. So I've pulled it off just by like looking past like the groups. Like, I don't care what the fuck you call yourself, as long as like you don't hold personal beliefs that I would never be able to reconcile, then I'll work with you. I don't give a shit, you know, what you are.
I fucking love it. I love it. You are doing in action what I've been preaching on social media for 3 months now. And you've been doing it for a lot longer than I've been preaching it. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a new thing for me, because like Kitty, my co-host, this all started with UPG in Louisville, and they like their Boogaloo chapter, again, for lack of a better term, like they started as BLM activists and then became Boogaloo. Like, these weren't like right-wing dudes or libertarians. Like, these were like inner city, borderline non-political, like, let's go get some guns and fuck the government people, you know? So because of that, they already had inroads in these communities, and they were started marching with BLM. Excuse me. And then we saw that, and that was way back at the event in Lansing that Maj Toure and everybody showed up to. We're like, we're going to do a unity like meeting, essentially. And our plan was only like non-aggression, essentially. Like, we weren't even asking for an alliance or to work together. We were literally just like, hey, you know, BLM, like Antifa groups, whatever, like Threepers, we invited Proud Boys, everything. It was like, let's just like, we don't have to like each other, but let's just stop fighting each other for a little while and then solve this fucking problem. And then we can like go back to fighting. So it wasn't even the Unity Coalition as we understand it. And I met Kitty there, and Kitty, again, like bravest fucking woman in the world, marched in by herself, like with full, like fucking red and black, you know, anarcho-syndicalist fucking shirt on, like black bloc, like walked into this group of like 50 armed dudes by herself and just like walked right up and was like, what's up? and I started talking to her, and we got along really well. And it kind of built from there of like, I started talking to her and it went beyond, it started to go beyond non-aggression. Because the more I talk to her, the more I'm like, actually, there's very little that me and you disagree upon. And this is weird because we're supposed to be like fucking mortal enemies, essentially. Like literally, like, you know, if you ask a normie, like, you know, black clad anti-fascist anarchists are supposed to be the polar opposite of libertarians. And, you know, ask Dave Smith, even probably, like, ask all these people, that's what they're going to tell you. So I'm like, this is fucking weird. So I started meeting her friends and running around with them and kind of building this circle. And the more and more people I met, like, I would run into the occasional like tanky fucking asshole that's like, we're gonna go and kill all the landlords, and it's like, okay, well, fuck that person. But outside of that, I would run into more and more people where I'm like, you would fit right in at like a fucking LP convention. They might find your cultural politics annoying, but like what you're actually trying to accomplish, they'd be like, okay, I kind of like this. And the more and more I met like people like that, the more I'm like, okay, I've been fucking lied to. Like, there's something else is going on here. And that's when like we went like full out. We branded the Unity Coalition. We were like going around to events being like, we are the Unity Coalition. And then like we had 2 events that we did after Lansing together. We did one again in Lansing, and then we did one in Columbus for the victims of police brutality in Columbus. And that was UPG, Boogaloo, anti-fascist organizations, and local BLM all working together. And that event didn't get any like major news coverage. And then we did J17, which is where I gave my speech, and then it just fucking so, which again, you know, thanks forever to fucking Clint and then Jimmy Dore, those two, because like without them like talking to me, like that would have never gone anywhere. And now it's the momentum.
Yeah, it's so funny. So like we can tell this story because I mentioned it in the intro. We met over the summer, and then I saw the video of your speech, and I was like, and people were talking about it, and people were calling you a Nazi, and I was like, no, it's not. Like, I know someone that was there. Like, I know people that are part of that group. They're not Nazis. Like, fast forward 3 months, turns out you're the person in the fucking video.
Like I said, because like I followed you and like I watched one of your shows and just never clicked. And then you just mentioned like what we were doing that summer, and I was like,
oh yeah, because I mentioned that fucking statist piece of shit, Chase Turner.
Yeah, and again, I'm so happy I dodged that bullet. By the way, anyone, it's already out because I've tweeted about it. But I did very briefly work for Yell until they bait and switched the fuck out of me. And whoever brought me onto Yell, I will not mention her name, but you shifty as fuck. Oh, it's a libertarian organization, and we're trying to you know, break the duopoly by getting libertarians in the office. I was like, oh, I can work with that. And then I get there, and it's like, oh, we're gonna work with a pro-life marijuana criminalization Republican. And then I left after the first day. I got in my fucking car and I bounced. I was like, fuck this dude.
I will say you missed out on a wonderful time. It was honestly one of the best, like one of my favorite 6-week periods. One of the better jobs.
What did y'all end up doing? Like anything fun or just like?
I mean, well, the house was just so dope. That, you know, we hung out at the house most of the time. We were just getting stoned because most of us are from non-legal states. So we were just like, you know, we were making bread. Not really. I mean, Yale doesn't pay great, but when they cover gas and housing, you know, all you really got to do is buy food and weed. So, you know, we were smoking and drinking and just having a great time. We got the candidate stoned. So you that was great.
Harris him.
I did.
I want to put people in jail for smoking this, but I'll smoke this. Motherfucker. I'm so glad I swerved the fuck out of that. But it's so funny. Like,
it wasn't nearly as bad as the fact that like the following month I was working for Donald Trump and Lindsey Graham.
Oh no, they would have. I would have raised motherfucking hell.
Ooh, but I can make it worse though, because then fast forward another 2 months, I was working for Joe Biden.
Well, you're a political mercenary, so
I am. I was for 2020. 2021, I'm a different man.
I've reformed. I've changed.
I'm reformed. I'm changed. No, honestly, I realized that I don't have to be a fucking mercenary. Like, it's not fucking worth it. Like, it's not worth selling my soul. I'm not going to do it
you were
anymore.
getting sucked right into the asshole of the machine, and you pulled yourself out, so that's good.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because like there's so many stories that I get to tell now with like platforms that go so against the narrative of like one of the main things that like endeared us to the Unity Coalition and like a lot of people in it was there was a story out of Wisconsin. Now I'm gonna omit some of these names because it's semi-criminal, but one of our guys, one of the main guys in Wisconsin, got word through the grapevine that there was a hair salon that was like almost ritualistically harassing and sexually assaulting women in his hometown. So what did the Boogaloo boys do? They showed up to his salon with a bunch of guns and a bunch of very angry women and essentially ran this dude the fuck out of town. Because a lot of people talk about like our anti-government stance to where they don't realize that like right below our hatred for government is like militant hatred of like rapists and pedophiles. Like half of our memes are about like throwing sexual predators into wood chippers. Like, so like, and the media never talks, even with all the platforming I've got, the media still never talks about that. But then when like feminist activists and stuff like that find that out about us, they're like, oh really? Interesting. This is how you guys want to feel. It's like, yeah, we don't call the cops. We show up to your house with a gun and tell you to get the fuck out of town. So yeah, like you know, it's so funny to me. And I finally got to like someone finally asked me about it because it's weird to just bring up in like normie media of like, oh, by the way, we want to kill pedophiles, like, you know, but yeah, somebody finally asked me about it. They're like, oh, I saw a lot of memes about like wood chippers. What is that about? And I'm like, you don't say.
So, are you a member of the wood chipper caucus?
No, see, dude, the LP is such a fucking Byzantine nonsense. You're gonna tell me there's a caucus or the not wait, though there is not a caucus, isn't there?
Probably.
There's the anti-caucus caucus. I know.
I think that's actually a thing. Yeah, probably. But there is a wood chipper caucus started by some of the guys in the Arizona LP, and we're gonna do a fundraiser where we're gonna actually bring a wood chipper to Reno.
Oh, we brought one to the Lansing courthouse. We did that. That was fun. There's pictures of that lurking around. And then there was another case in Texas of like, I forget the details of the story, but essentially like there was a young girl that was being trafficked essentially. And like the judge like knew about it and was like doing nothing about it. And there was like videos of this girl essentially like begging, like, come save me. And like, I'm so fucked and I'm like being abused and shit. And the local PD was doing nothing about it. So it was a Stand with Sophie. So like we ran like the Stand with Sophie campaign and we're like organizing for this chick and ended up getting her like reunited with her parents. And it's like, that was like another huge like action by us that
was you guys.
Yeah. Stand with Sophie was the Boogaloo. Like we literally ran that entire fucking campaign. Like it was all Boogs. So again, like people don't know this shit. There's so much like subtext underneath that the media just fucking misses totally.
Yeah. So fuck that's hitting. So something you touched on earlier that I want to bring back around is this media like misinformation and libertarians' constant belief that we are above it. Because we do that, right? We, for some unknown reason, we think that like, well, because we're red-pilled and we're libertarians, like we know what's really going on, and so like nothing could be misinformation, right?
Right.
We
We're
know,
never
right?
and like the powers that be understand counterculture. So like they're getting in and like manipulating people in a dozen different fucking directions, to where like I think Republicans and the LP are just like, well, CNN and the mainstream news is lying. So like everything they say is a lie, but everything else everyone else says is totally true. And it's like, no, like people are bullshitting you like all the time in every direction. Like you can almost assume that anything you learn about anything, unless you were personally there, is at least somewhat of a fucking lie. Like,
Right.
that's just how it works. Like I experienced that firsthand in Louisville, to where the local police and the local like news and even like Fox News and shit reported that they deployed riot cops on us because we were blocking the road. We were never blocking the road. Cars were driving by us just fucking perfectly fine the entire time. And then they reported that, they deployed because there was reports of armed individuals stopping cars. And it was like, no, I was there. Like I watched all of this. None of that ever fucking happened. Like, you're lying. But you know for a fact that like some local libertarian was probably on their fucking Twitter being like, blocking cars is a violation of the NAP and this is why I hate BLM. And it's like, you've been lied to, bro. Like, you don't realize like you're being manipulated all the fucking time. Like, you need to look into shit a little deeper and you need to ask people on the ground. And there's definitely like, I get it all the time from the Antifa types and the BLM people of like, well, you talk to the media too much. And it's like, well, just like conservatives kind of gave the narrative over to like the mainstream press is left leaning in a way. Like, at the same time, like a lot of BLM and like Antifa and stuff have given over the narrative about them to like the Trump supporters and like the Tim Pools and stuff like that, because they won't talk to the press and they won't live stream and they don't like being filmed and shit like that. So it's like, yeah, like once you actually go and you see what's going on and you're actually on the ground, you're like, whoa, hang on, something different's happening here than I've been doing.
Yeah. That's something that I had to, on Fite and Friends, I did go a little bit easy, but the thing I had to push back on, the guy said every time Antifa is marching, they're burning down businesses.
If they were doing that, then
we wouldn't have a country left.
Also, they'd be fucked. Like the cops know, like they will not play on that. And also, people just like they conflate, because to me, there's like three forms of rioting essentially. There's like exclusively fighting the police, and then there's like mild accidental or sometimes purposeful like minor property damage. Like, we're talking like, so fucking a window being broken or like a car like being vandalized or something like that, which just could just happen at these events. I hate to break it to like everybody, including the people on the left, but every single protest has like some scumbag fucking kid that just wants to watch the world burn, and he's running around and he probably doesn't even know who the hell George Floyd is, and he just wants to steal shit and fuck shit up. Like, that's just the reality of the matter. And then you have like, Minneapolis and Baltimore, when everything went tits up and they were just like, everything was burning. Like, and people conflate all three of those together like all the fucking time. Like Kenosha, literally, like in Kenosha, the first night, like people are talking about, oh, it's fiery riots and they're burning down buildings and blah, blah, blah. It was literally a single city fire truck that got lit on fire. And they're rampaging and burning down buildings. It's like, that's not what happened. Like they lit a single like government piece of property on fire. But then, but at the same time, like, it's frustrating that the left will do it to be like, oh, well, Minneapolis was only like outside antagonists. It's like, no, like, come on, own it. Like, it happens. Like, you don't have to say it represents you. You don't have to say it's like everything you're about or whatever, but it happens, So everyone's fucking gaslighting each other and lying and playing politics.
Yeah, they blamed it on you guys.
Yeah, they did.
They blamed most of the shit on you guys.
That's so funny.
It's like, it was the fucking right-wing militias and the Boogaloo boys showed up and started shit. That was their narrative. Most of them blamed it on fucking you.
Yeah, it's like, to stop, guys. And literally, like, it's funny because the one person they got, which was the one dude, even in their story, like, you have to have such cognitive fucking dissonance to not pick up on it. It was like, dangerous right-wing extremist Boogaloo boy arrested for firing on the Minneapolis Police Department. It's like, okay. And you go into the article and it's like, shortly after the police department was lit ablaze, a man fired 3 rounds of an AK-47 into it. It's like, oh yeah. After it was like lit on fire by a crowd of people. It's like, but yeah, that's in the text, and even in the text they try to dance around it while still having to tell the truth of like, no, like the dude was just like, holy fuck, we lit a police station on fire and let a few rounds off into an abandoned burning police department. shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so let's talk about your Twitter video and Karen and Harlos's attitude at the moment too, because it fits perfectly, and then what you just talked about, because that is the kind of rioting that is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's burn some fucking police stations.
Yeah,
Oh my.
fuck the police stations, fuck the light poles and the trash cans and the fucking like all that. Like private property, don't fuck with private property.
Stop fucking with private property. Yeah.
Even me personally, I can kind of be like, well, it's fucking Target. Like I don't care, or like, oh, it's McDonald's. Like I don't care. I'm still not going to stand for it. I'm still not going to advocate for it. But I'm probably not going to shed a tear if like a mega corporation loses a branch or whatever. But stop fucking with like Phil's fucking shoe repair. Like leave that alone. Like,
Right.
that's how I feel. But yeah, like I one of my very first Twitter posts was like it was scenes of people storming the Capitol, and then it was scenes of the Minneapolis Police Department on fire, and it was like, this was dope. This was also kind of dope. It's like like fuck the government.
Yes.
But
yes.
what video are you talking about, and who are these individuals you're speaking of?
Well, I shared and actually played on a friend's live stream your video. I think it was the day of the New Hampshire convention where you were going off about the LP
screaming
infighting.
at my fucking phone.
Yes. Yeah. Screaming at your fucking like listening device.
Yeah, my CIA
wiretap
box. High feds.
You were screaming at your fucking wiretap. Punch up.
Yeah, punch the fuck up.
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. And so and Karen Ann Harlos is the Libertarian National Committee secretary, but she's been kind of on a rampage the last probably month and a half, in tandem with our unity message of save it for the state.
Yeah, I love that. I love
fucking that. Like she said that on an episode with Dave Smith, and I have been quoting her in like 2 posts a day since then. Because it's such beautiful messaging.
Talk to her, because that's exactly my fucking energy right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should definitely have her on your show. She's a godsend. She's a wonderful person. She's a little bit of an antagonist sometimes.
I mean, I'm the same way though.
Yeah, we all have our moments.
See, I get criticized a lot because I'll act way friendlier with the left than I will the right. But I just feel like if you're on the right, like you should fucking understand what I'm doing, bro. Like if you're bootlicking and worshiping the government, then how are you calling yourself right wing, even within their idea of what right wing means? It's like you're supposed to be like small government in like opposition to like federal power. So I shouldn't have to explain this shit to you. So when you get all like, oh, Trump is king and we need to like send the FBI after Antifa and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you should fucking know better. Your entire political ideology is based on not doing the shit you're advocating for. Like you should know better. So that's kind of like why I'll be more shit stirry with the right than I will the left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got branded as a like left-wing infiltrator in the LP for a short period of time.
That's fun.
Because right. Because I defended a specific very good in real life friend of mine online. Because people were making claims that this person was a pedophile supporter and was making light of pedophilia and justifying it. This is not a thing that happened. This person does not hold any of those views. Like, just know that's also terrible.
Also, how are you a left-wing infiltrator for the fact of is being pro pedophilia considered left-wing? Because I don't.
Apparently,
I think nobody's cool with pedophilia, and like I think a lot of people on the left dismiss the whole MAPS thing as a right-wing conspiracy. It's not. It's real. These people exist. And when they find out that it's not a conspiracy, they're probably more mad about it than the people on the right are, because they're like, these motherfuckers are trying to infiltrate the LGBT movement, and no. Like, so
that's the thing. That's you hit the nail right on the head there. You know, I'm straight, but I like completely 100% straight. But you know, I have this fucking flag behind me. I marched in the 50th anniversary Pride Parade while I was running for city council with the Libertarian Party, and I backed up my good friend Brianna Coyle when these people made this bullshit accusation. But it was based off of exactly what you're talking about. That they were going full blown conspiracy theorists. Cultural Marxism objective is to destroy the nuclear family and instill pedophilia and all that, like blah blah blah. You know, just all the QAnon, right? Just all of it.
It's like yeah, there are people that are trying to do that, but like I hate it when like, because this ties perfectly into like the George Soros paid activist fucking thing of like every single person who throws a brick at a cop is like some like agent fucking that, you know, is getting paid under the table. Like, dude, people are fucking simple. Like, I talk to a lot of people that they do not have very complicated politics and they have very simple goals and they just want to accomplish one fucking thing. And they're not these extremely devious, evil fucking actors. And that's 90% of people. So like, yes, is the culture war real? Is there cultural, like, are they the quote unquote cultural Marxists that are trying to do exactly those things? Yes. Is the average person at a BLM march with a fucking, you know, Pan-African flag, like trying to do this? No. Like, stop. Like, again, you're not treating individuals as individuals. You are ironically acting more like a communist in your supposed opposition against communism. Right. Like, stop.
Right. You're right. You're right on the money with that one. So these people were making this accusation. All I did was stand up for her and be like, hey, she's not a pedophile, nor does she like pedophiles. She's actually a good person. I know her personally. And then they were like, oh, so you're a fucking commie, pedophile lover Marxist too, huh? And then I ran for the state committee and lost to Noda, which is an ironic thing to say now. Thanks to the
you did it before.
I did it before it was cool. I lost to Noda before it was fucking the cool thing to do.
It keeps your heart out, Nicholas Soul.
Right. I also love the fact that you mispronounce his name every time you say it.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Again, this dude's so fucking irrelevant. I never heard his name before. I still don't care what he's doing. The fact that everyone, again, like, I am your quote unquote voting block. I am a libertarian voter. I will always vote LP. If you're making drama about a dude whose name I've literally never fucking heard before and you're putting energy into that, you're fucked up.
I will say that does take at least a little bit of ignorance on your part, because he was the chair. Okay. Like, you had to not paying attention.
Go to the average Republican and ask them who the fuck is the chair of the Republican Party. They don't know.
You know,
ask the average Democrat. They don't fucking know, because it doesn't matter. This shit's irrelevant. That's only interior party politics. That does not affect the normal person at all.
Yeah, I know who the chair of the Democratic Party is. I don't know the Republican. I do know the chair of the Libertarian Party, though. I know half of the members of the LNC by heart. But that's because I'm a party bro now.
Yeah, but that's because you're in it, so it's interior political drama. But like, if I'm just like a normie, fucking like libertarian voter. Like I have been for 8 years, and I get on like, oh, Dave Smith has a Twitter. Let's go see what Dave Smith's talking about, and it's a bunch of bitching about Nicholas. What the fuck? I'm like, who's that? Why do I care? How does this promote liberty? How am I becoming more free than this? So it's just like, I think that's like the biggest issue is interior party drama and politics will happen. It's a constant. It'll never go away. The fact that it gets, everyone's dirty laundry gets thrown out in front of the entire public is probably the issue. Like the fact that a lot of this shit isn't handled like face to face behind closed doors and is like all over trending on Twitter. It's like,
trending on Twitter.
Probably should be held in like a fucking Zoom call or like a DM chat or some shit, and not like blown all over the asshole of the internet.
Yeah, like because at some point we have to act like a real party, and I kind of actually I like that distinction that you just made of yourself as a normie voter, because if you walk up to your average Republican, like enrolled, has voted Republican every year for the last 20 years, like you said, they don't know the chair. They've never been to a like county committee meeting. They've never ran for delegate. They've never ran for office. They've never worked on a campaign, right? They're just enrolled Republicans, and they show up 2 days a year to vote in the primary and the general. That is all they do, right? If we're ever going to win some shit, we gonna need some of them.
We need the normies. We don't need the politic goblins. Like me and you,
Yeah.
me and you are politic goblins. We live and breathe this shit. Like we need Barbara that like doesn't give a fuck besides like, her general political her general political principles and how she wants to see the country go. But she does not care what Brianna Coyle said to Dave Smith on fucking Twitter. That is an abstract, irrelevant fucking concept to her life. Like she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. That's why I literally run like half of my tweets by my dad before I send them out. I swear to God, because he's completely unplugged from this, couldn't give two fucks about the Libertarian Party, still isn't even enrolled Libertarian. He's still unaffiliated. He's not even like an enrolled independent. He's just a not affiliated.
He's just dude.
Yeah. So is my mom. They're the same. But so I run half of the shit I post by him, or at least, and like even like in conversations in the DMs and stuff, I'll run it by him and be like, okay, like I need your normie. I actually said that to the exact wording. I asked my dad about the Kentucky tweet. I in the car today, my exact wording was, I need your normie opinion on something real quick. I read him the tweet and I said, does this offend you? And he's like, offend? No. I can see why somebody might think it's in bad taste, but I'm not offended by it. No. And I was like, okay, thank you.
That's what we need to like. Oh my God, I just had a brilliant idea for politics. I think I just fucking came up with we need just like a website that's just like ask a normie, and you just like pay people like how the quiz websites do, like per answer, and you're just like, hey, are you like a normal person who isn't on Twitter and doesn't give a fuck about anything? Like answer these questions, and like have like LP members be like, hey, do you care about this? Like, would you understand? Essentially like modern polling. But like, yo,
Yeah.
like ask a normie.
Yo, let's make it a thing.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's so funny because like my mom got on Twitter because of me, because my mom is she'll probably watch this. Hi mom, I love you. You're a fucking helicopter parent and you're my favorite.
My dad still only has like 11 followers on Twitter because he made it back like when Twitter first became a thing, and so he follows like shit my dad says and texts from last night.
Oh my God, text from last night is the best.
Right.
I wish that was still around.
Yeah,
sad. But
so that's his Twitter.
Yeah, but it's funny because like when I told my mom, she's like, I'm getting on Twitter. I'm like, okay, well, don't just follow me, because then people are gonna be like, who's this? And like be incognito a little bit, because you've already had people like call you and threaten to kill you for being related to me. Like we've already been through this, So like just like be a little. She names herself the mother of a libertarian servant. That's what she fucking names her Twitter, okay? And then she just starts like commenting on everything. And I'm like, Mom, yo, you gotta be like fucking a little more like on the DL. And then eventually she just like came out like, I'm Zach's mom. It's like, so now it's already out there. But it's so funny because she's like very like I guess like legally progressive, but like personally like super conservative, just because she's like super small town, like she like doesn't.
So she's a real libertarian.
Yeah, and like I remember she followed Unholy Rome, and she's like, I love everything he posts, and then like he posted like an imprint pic of his dick randomly, because that's Twitter. That's the shit that like everybody does on Twitter. This is like a horny fucking degenerate website. Like everybody's doing shit. And
this is
like,
fact.
And she's like, what the fuck is that? I had to unfollow him. I'm like, welcome to Twitter, Mom. You made the account. I warned you.
So I really wanted to do an episode on Libertitties.
I know
because
everyone involved.
Right, like, and there's some of like the best fucking women on Twitter, right? Like, and dudes, honestly, because there were some dudes.
I'm to the very small number of people that thirst for me on Twitter. I'm in a calendar somewhere. I don't know where that calendar is or where it went out, but it was by a lot of the Libertitties girls, and I'm in it. So this is my version of the Spike Cohen mixtape. I'm like, good luck, go find it.
Good luck, go find it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I really some people tried to dissuade me from doing that episode. I think I might still do it. I'm gonna try to get like, because they thought it was unbecoming of a gentleman like myself to platform these hoes.
These fucking they're upright, respectful women. No, it's like I hate.
That's the thing. Most of them are like
they're all fucking. They're all. That's the thing too. Is like in the same way that like girls have weaponized like Twitch to be like video games and boobs and money. These girls have like tied liberty to titties and are like propagandizing horny men. Like, this is great. Like, this, I love it.
Yeah, like, we are using the culture war against them.
Like Raven Liberty, like she literally like posts pictures of like taxation is theft across her ass, and they trend on very weird places in the internet. You would not be okay with seeing that just because it's a weapon. Like, respect the diversity of tactics. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, facts. I'm 100% with you on that one. More people need to think of more out of the box things like that. I follow one Twitter account that I think the name of it is Stock Tips on Nice Tits.
Yeah,
something like that. And it's
great.
it's like 2 posts a day, and it's just like two stock like 2 stocks that you should look into, and it's just like their fucking acronyms, like
on boobs.
On boobs.
That's perfect.
Like,
that's
just
perfect.
a nice picture of some boobs.
I love it.
Safe for work pictures too. It's like in a bikini or like something like that. It's not like anything crazy. Yeah, it just exists out there. Like, why the fuck not? Why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not? Yeah, I love it. That's why I love all the Liberty Titty stuff and all that. It's great. And like I forget who it is. Somebody like reads like fucking Locke and Rothberg and like Mises like naked on OnlyFans. I forget who that is, but one of the girls does that. So it's like, fuck yeah. I have nothing bad to say about it at all. It's great.
Nothing at all. That we need to do more of that.
It's fucking brilliant, honestly. So
if I was a little bit sexier, maybe there would be an OnlyFans where that existed, but
I'm just too hairy.
I don't have boobs.
I'm just too hairy. So
yeah. I mean, some people are into that.
Some people are into everything.
Specifically the Libertitties girls, I've heard.
Yeah, they're all crazy. A lot of people joke around that I have like a harem because like I'm like the more queer dude, so I run around with all the girls because all the girls like me because they could be more like regular girls and not have to worry about me. But the only thing people see is like a 6'1" bearded dude like running around with just like a gaggle of hot women, and they're like, oh, there goes Magnus and his harem, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, no.
Nice. Let me. I don't know that I believe you and your version of that story, but all right.
I'm a warrior nun, bro. I get no action.
Oh, that's sad. I'm honestly I'm a little bit with you on that one, but
I'm too
we
busy for that shit.
we changed that. Actually, yo, this is something this is a story I don't think I've even told on the channel. So the house that you've been to,
Yeah.
that you or were at for like a few hours, I actually got laid there.
By who? Who the fuck came over?
I met somebody on Bumble and yeah, got laid in the backyard.
I was gonna say what, like, we were on the conversation of getting laid, and then like I was imagining the only person that was there, and I was like, really, her? Interesting.
No. That's okay. Someone else, because we signed a thing.
This is getting too inside jokey. People don't know who the fuck why I'm dying right now. If you knew, you would find it just as funny as I do. Trust me.
So I'm actually having another person from that house on the show next week. Not Justin, Jesse. Jesse.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Welsh.
Yeah.
Yes. I've
Smash
actually had
Bros.
Justin. Yes, I've actually had Justin Jackson, our director. I've had him on the show twice now. Fucking love that guy. He's a good guy.
I wonder if he recognizes me.
I'm gonna text him tonight. I'm gonna send him this episode.
Like, do you know who Magnus is?
Do you know who this is? Do you know that you almost touched greatness? You fucked up.
Nah, I'm sorry. Like, that's just the thing with Yao, bro. Is like, I don't, like I said, I even said on our show, I don't like talking shit about them, but I just can't, in good faith, send people that are more like me to them, because it's just like
send those people to like People for Liberty.
Yeah, it's just like if they were just more forthright and upcoming with it, and like more picky with their candidates, because I am very much against like this is the best we got, and my standards are probably lower than a lot of other people in the LP, to where like I can actually compromise on this a little bit. But then you look at a lot of Yao's candidates, and it's like, really, like, this is just like a fucking Republican, dude. Like, this guy is like, no, where he is pro liberty is where the Republican Party is pro liberty. Everything else is anti-libertarian. So it's like, this isn't a libertarian organization as you sold it to me. And so many people I've talked to have left because of that. Like, I know.
Yeah. The problem is they have a couple of actually good ones that they can point to. They do have.
You just get bait and switched with that shit.
Yeah. They've got these people aren't perfect, but they do have the real ones, like Matt Gertler, like Nick Freitas, like even Nancy Mace is pretty solid. She's not the best, but she's up there.
I'm okay with like like a fucking like a Thomas Massey. Like, I would accept that, But like, if you're talking about like running for like a Donald Trump, essentially, which was even like in that house, we were told like he's a Donald Trump Republican. It's like, It's like, okay.
They're all Donald Trump Republicans. This dude was a back the blue, build the wall, make America great again,
keep weed illegal. As to smoke one for our shit candidate. But no, it's just like so many people I know, like Naomi, like fucking Diego, like all these people like bounced out of Yao because of shit like that. And like Diego's like one of the original like Boogaloo people too. So a lot of people don't know that. Diego's the shit. So like,
yeah, a lot of people, and then they went ahead and had to touch girls.
Well, yeah, then there's the whole Yao 2 fucking living miscarriage. Which is just insane that they ever got to that point. But again, like, that was handled
miscarriage.
Yeah, that was handled very well by people, though. Not really by Yao, but by like the community. The community handled it very well.
That is true. The Liberty Movement handled it pretty well. Yeah. Like, there was a couple of really shitty people like, like if you want to look at Twitter and generalize and make assumptions and be an asshole, like there were definitely some comments on there that were pretty bad, and there was some victim blaming going on and some other dumb
it was
shit.
mostly like sub 100 fucking brand new account sock motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if you look at every major person in the Liberty movement, they're like, wow, that sucks. We're going to help you find justice. We're not going to jump to conclusions. We're not going to bury these guys until we see evidence, but we're here to support you. And then the girls were like, hey, I'm actually going to show a bunch of evidence instead of just he said she. Like every single stage of it was just handled better by everyone involved besides the accused. Obviously, he was a scumbag about it, but
yeah. And Yell is an organized, Yell under his control at the beginning there was kind of like their whole this couldn't possibly be a thing that happened.
And it was just tweet, photo, screenshot, DMs, messages, photo, screenshot.
Right.
Just raining from the fucking heavens.
The funniest part about that is they released a thing about how flawless their HR is.
And then there was so much proof that their HR was garbage.
Yeah, but they published a statement about how flawless their HR was in a statement that literally no HR department would ever fucking okay. Never. No HR department would say we're great and infallible. So this can't no one would ever okay that.
No, the HR departments usually are whiny and begging for forgiveness.
Yeah,
in these situations.
Yeah,
they don't project strength.
Nah.
So I'm glad that got resolved. I'm glad all those girls got their fucking due diligence, and I hope that never happens again. And again, well, let's make Liberty Twitter mad. You can't just be you can't just be against sexual harassment. You have to be actively an anti against sexual harassment, boys.
Mahalo for that one. We're gonna tweet that out later.
Just to cause a shitstorm. Fucking
just to cause a shitstorm.
Clip it and just send it.
Oh yeah. Just send tweet. That's been the fun thing lately. Is just writing stuff, send tweet, have a fun time.
Oh, I wake up particularly after what happened in Austin yesterday, day before that. I woke up in the morning and I just skipped all my mentions. So sorry if I missed anybody, but I was like, I caused a fucking shitstorm. Fuck all of you. I'm not even gonna deal with this. Because people were bootlicking on a video of fucking cops fucking with a quadriplegic woman in a wheelchair. And they were like, oh, well, she was wiggling around. It's like, okay, I don't care. Oh, well, she did it to herself. Okay, I don't care. Oh, I wasn't there and the video doesn't show it, but I'm just going to assume that the cops were in the right. It's like, okay, shut the fuck up. I don't care. It's a quadriplegic woman in a fucking wheelchair, you bootlicking fucks.
5-on-1, grown-ass men in uniform versus a quadriplegic. Let's root for...
Yeah.
How is that even... Hold on.
It's because it's tied to the Garrett Foster situation, and I swear to God, Liberty Twitter has the most fucking brain dead fucking takes on the Garrett Foster situation. That
Liberty Twitter has the most brain dead fucking takes on most police brutality things.
I must just be in a good pocket, but then again, I hang out with all the anarchists, so
well,
I'm good.
So many of these
I got
people...
Ace and fucking Toad and all of the fucking anarchists and shit that are posting memes about how Derek Chauvin's a bastard and everything. So I guess I avoid that part of it.
He is a bastard. That is a true thing. One of the problems with individualism and individual responsibility and libertarian philosophy in general is that it does kind of have a tendency to victim blame in a lot of ways, because it addresses the parts where victim blaming might be legitimate, because sometimes victim blaming is legitimate. Sometimes you deserved whatever happened.
Sometimes you just fucked up and you were really dumb and you did everything wrong to put yourself in the situation. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, goddamn, you put yourself there. Yeah, it's right. But
sometimes not. but so there's definitely a constant thought process of like, well, if I hear even from Liberty Twitter the bullshit like, if they had just complied, if they weren't high, if they had if they hadn't done the crime to begin with, if they weren't in the place, if they weren't if and it
Daniel Shaver, fuck all of you, bro. Like, compliance does not result in things going well. It's not always. It can.
no.
There's a lot of situations where it's like, dude, just shut the fuck up and get in the back of the cop car. You're making it worse for yourself. Yeah, those happen a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen them. The
I've
woman who
always complied. I've still been wrongfully arrested for things that I didn't do. I have been cut. I have been abused. I have been held for 72 hours without a phone call. Always compliant.
Yeah.
Most of those things, almost all the things I just named happened after I was in the car.
Yeah. So again, like it's just nonsense. The fucking bootlicking shit. I just think like it's just a big difference between. There's just like a mentality of people that like you could tell who commits crimes and who doesn't, like, because like the people that never interact with the police for any reason because they're just like low profile as fuck and they never push the limits and they just go online and bitch about taxation being theft are usually like the ones that are like, well, just comply. And then people like me that like had got pulled over and then thrown on the hood of my car and then my entire car ripped the fuck apart because I was white in a black neighborhood and got pulled over by a white cop that assumed that I was only there to buy drugs, and I complied the whole time, and he fucking smashed my fucking head against the dashboard and fucking screamed at me and tore my car apart, and then eventually had to let me go because I just didn't have anything in the fucking car. Like, yeah, like that is reality for way more people than you're okay of accepting. Like you can't just be like, oh, just listen and don't do anything and you'll be fine. Like, not always. Like, you might die, you might be hurt, you might be fucked up. Like, it's just stupid. Again, Daniel Shaver, I will always point to it. Like, Daniel Shaver didn't fucking do anything wrong. The guy was sitting there, the cop was yelling at him, making him do fucking bop it essentially with his hands. Put your hands up, put your hands down, crawl towards me, stop, keep coming. And then he tried, like, the kid's like just desperately trying to fucking comply, and then he just shot him anyways. Like, what the fuck, dude?
And that man is still walking free
and getting paid a lot of money. PTSD, like hazard pay for him murdering someone.
Yeah. Man, I really fucked up not becoming a cop. I should have become a cop. Like, do you think it would work? Does it work for friendly fire?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there was a one time in Detroit. I think I told you about this at the house where one precinct undercover cops got into a fist fight with another precinct's undercover cop that they were trying to buy drugs from, and both of them didn't know that they were undercover cops, and it ended up in like 17 cops getting into fucking fist fights and guns being drawn in just the middle of the hood in Detroit. So like, maybe.
So here's what I'm thinking. We all become cops to get qualified immunity, and then police brutality.
The police. Also, again, like I don't know if you've been watching what's going on in England, but I think all those fucking riot dogs are like in deep cover because there's just so many videos of just riot cops just getting fucked up by their own dogs. It's like, holy more
the best boys.
I've yet to see a video of them biting a protester, but I've seen like 7 of them like attacking the cops.
The ones that were in Denmark like 2 weeks ago were fucking some people up.
Yeah, that's Denmark. Like, I'm talking like the English police because they've been using them the last 3 days, and like every single video I see is just like the dog just freaking out, just biting the cop. I'm like, yeah,
because they can tell that the cops deserve it.
Yeah,
because all cops are bastards.
It's so funny though because like that tweet of mine went viral, and everyone in the comments is like, the dogs. I feel so bad for the dogs. The dogs. And I'm like, hey guys, read the text above the video to see why this is happening. And it's like, oh, England is currently passing a law that will restrict protesting, and this was a protest for the right to protest, and they suck dogs on people. Like, that's what I meant by like, this is coming here. Like, it's not about like, oh God, spooky dogs. Like, no, it's like they're literally trying to I think like the actual text of the thing is, if a protest is deemed to be a nuisance, they can shut it down to like the community, which again, like if you really trust the police in defining what a nuisance is, like it's pretty much just like a ban on protesting if the government says they don't want you to protest.
Right.
And so people went out to protest this law, and they're running around with fucking dogs, sicking them on protesters and shit like it's the 1960s again. Like, woo.
Welcome to 1984, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Orwell was not wrong. He was just early.
Right. Just a little bit. Right. COVID 1984.
Yep. Yeah, and even just like the whole war going on with the vaccine passports right now is just ridiculous. Let me grab a beer really quick out of my fridge. It's like right here.
Yeah.
What's up?
You know what? We'll give them a word from our sponsors. In the
Brief intermission. All right, cool.
Brief intermission
too, as well.
I think it says so much that the concern about anarchism is that it could devolve back into something like government, right? Like, oh no, we can't have freedom because we might end up with the system we have now.
We have been waiting for the Hail Mary pitch of the national media just deciding to give us a bunch of attention and let us on the debate stage, and then we get to catapult to the White House. It's not going to happen.
And we say things like, what all Americans want is freedom. That's not true. We made that up. That's absolutely not true.
We need to agree on this one thing, and we need to go in there and hand these politicians their asses and say, you're done, we're in, and we're dismantling this money system, and we're going to bring the government back to the American people. And then once we give it back to the American people, guess what? The American people are going to decide what kind of society they want to live in.
Because the left started World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. Those are all started by Democrats. Vietnam is only because they didn't want to go, because there was a draft.
You're Luke Skywalker, man. Tell me something important. Teach me something that matters that I don't know, or show me you're leading somebody else. And especially, I'm sorry, but like, we're the Empire killing the Sand People here and shit. Like, this is so obvious, Luke.
They tried to get people canceled back then. They got some people canceled, but it was mostly politicians. It was mostly people in power. And when you play a power game, when you decide you're going to be a Machiavellian, I mean, you're expect to get your throat slit at some point, metaphorically. And so no, this is completely different. This is going after like regular people.
As long as people look at other people as people, and we can remember and think about our humanity and our individualism, then I think that people are inherently good. And I think it takes outside forces to otherize people.
Like, why are we here? Why are we here? Because we care about these real issues, because these are real human beings who are suffering, whose lives are being ruined. Let's try to come together and brush some of this stuff off and deal with these really important issues. Because all this other stuff is like symptoms. It's symptoms of the central problem. And unless you solve the central problem, then we'll be fighting over Mr. Potato Head forever.
Yeah, guys, if you don't already follow him, Mr. Reed Coverdale, follow him on Twitter, subscribe to him on YouTube, The Naturalist Capitalist. He is also on Free Speech Media, streaming sometimes. I don't even have that schedule down yet because it's changing. So just go to Free Speech Media and see what's going on. There's stuff going on probably right now as you're watching this replay on YouTube. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's Liberty Happy Hour. Maybe it's Emmanuel Torres with The Fix for New York. Maybe it's Bill Barger with fucking don't quote me on this. You never know. So go follow Free Speech Media, and they're on a whole bunch of other platforms besides YouTube and Facebook. they're out there experiencing the blockchain community and the other communities that we can use to maybe kind of break this monopoly hold that we have in the big tech world. So go check out Free Speech Media. It's a great time. Also, if you are enjoying what you're hearing so far today, give us a couple of bucks on Cash App. We would really appreciate it. It does take some money to keep this going, and if you feel like you're getting value out of the content that we're putting out, if you liked hearing from Scott Horton and Dan Berman and Mr. Magnus here, send us a couple of bucks. We would really appreciate it, so that we can keep this up and running and keep getting awesome content out for you. As we wait for Magnus to come back, I'll just fucking monologue for a little bit on this recording, because the Unity thing is it's actually catching steam, like we mentioned earlier. And honestly, Magnus, when he comes back, I'll fill him in a little bit. His participation in this has really got me back up and hyped, because we're seeing it from outside of the echo chamber now. We have Karen Ann, we have Dave Smith, we have Rex Lawhorn, we have Magnus, we have multiple different people who were not part of Liberty Unity, who were not part of the Unity Caucus, who were not part of Amash Gabbard 24, who were not a part of my friend group or Reed's friend group, or really a part of any of this, right? We have a lot of people that are coming together on this messaging, and it's fucking beautiful to see. So I'm stoked to see it. We're gonna throw Magnus' camera back up here. Is he back? No, he's not. I couldn't quite tell. It's always a fun time in the world of virtual podcasting, where nothing is real, and we're pretending that we're in the same room. It's a whole completely different thing. We used to, like, this is kind of like a branch off from radio, right? Where people were, sitting in a room, and then podcasting, was all in person too, for forever. But now we've got virtual bullshit going on with people and things, and we got Magnus back. I can't hear you though.
I just got back on Twitter while I was going to the bathroom, and yeah, it's still stupid. It's
still stupid. Yeah. Well, I was just commenting on the fact that I'm super excited to see the Liberty Unity messaging get used by other people that were not part of that little echo chamber that we started out with on Twitter. The hashtag was like me and Reed, but the thing had been happening in little pockets already. You were already doing what you were doing before Reed made the post that got Dave Smith and Spike Cohen to finally talk to each other nicely, right? You were already out there doing what you've been doing. But for you to kind of bring your messaging back into the LP and talk about it, and I've actually said quite a few times in private that I really love the fact that you, in that video that we referenced earlier, you put up Dave Smith and Brianna Coyle.
Well, I view them as like the two polars of the libertarian. Like, I feel like each of them represent, like, and again, I love you, Dave, and I love you, Brianna, but you both represent the best and the worst parts of the Libertarian Party, respectively, of both your sides. And that's why I brought them up, is out of both love and also like guys. Like, stop.
Yeah, but like of the people to defend the way that you did, like in that context, I love the fact that you chose those two specifically, because like there are other people on both sides that you could have said, like you could have said Michael Heiss and Archie Flowers, but those two people don't deserve to be defended. Really,
No,
like
yeah,
not the same way that Dave Smith and Brianna do,
and that's just like it's harder for like the Republicans or something like that to do that because it's bigger, but definitely for libertarians and as a small party, if we don't like somebody and somebody's actually like a shithead, like if they're like super mega annoying woke, or if they're like borderline fucking like actual like Nazi libertarian, like, oh, I want less government so I can oppress, minorities type people. If we just ignore them and just not fucking talk about them, they'll go away. Nobody will care.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the hate targets of the LP from within the LP only exist because people won't shut the fuck up about them.
Right. You mean like when we make a fucking tweet from a 4,200 follower Twitter account fucking trend?
Yeah. It's just like, stop it. And that's the whole thing of Punch Up is like yeah, it does make sense for me for like maybe Brianna to have criticisms of Dave, but like Dave shouldn't be talking about like anybody who isn't bigger than Dave. Dave should be always like, everyone should always be punching upwards, like that's kind of the thing. Like if your energy should always be focused on people that are more significant and have more power than you do. But I guess that's just kind of like my ex-Marxist in me there that's saying that,
Yeah.
But
well, the thing is,
it applies in a lot of situations,
Yeah. Well, what happens is when you get into, I'll steal Dave Smith's own terminology here. When you get these beta males who don't fucking have any balls, they, instead of punching up to like all the way up to the fucking state, right? They're punching like this far up to like something that's reachable, to someone that's gonna respond and fight back and give them some validity. So they reach up to Dave Smith instead of saving for the state. And then similarly, you have people who are straight up just punching down.
Yeah, there's definitely people that I see them do nothing but get into like arguments with people that have like 100 followers on Twitter, and they're like spending like a fucking half hour just like arguing with this person.
If you have less than 1,000 followers on Twitter and you're commenting negatively, I will not respond to you.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. And again, maybe that's elitist or whatever. You can argue that, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, the entire concept of the party is like taking the fight to power. Like that's the whole reason we fucking exist is to diminish the power of the most powerful institution in the world. Like it's a lofty goal. That's big, so how can you ever reconcile that with bullshitting with stupid people? And there's an exception to that because you have people like Ace. Ace is a fucking, all that kid does is argue with people. Like all his entire Twitter is just getting into arguments with just totally irrelevant, stupid people. But yeah, I guess that like this is, because there's no such thing as absolutes. It's whether you're doing it productively or unproductively. If you're just sitting there and just be like, LOL, blue-pilled bedwetter, go fuck yourself, haha, that's not doing anything. To where I think Ace is so popular because Ace like uses random idiots to like educate on higher concepts the way he does it. He's very good about that. Like he's treating these idiots as essentially like a fucking backboard to bounce, his arguments off of. So that's just kind of the thing is like what I always contextualize it as like, what are you doing to advance your politics and the betterment of the world and the freedom of everybody right now? And it's like, if you stop and like, you just observe every interaction you ever have, especially on like Twitter and the internet, that way you start to realize like, oh, I'm wasting a fucking bunch of time doing this the wrong way, if not even doing it at all, Yeah.
100%. And we're wasting so much of our time and our energy on Twitter and getting into these arguments with these like fucking. And I want to clarify what I said earlier. Like, if you're like some 100 and something person like account and you're critical of me, like, I will respond if you're being legitimately critical and you're bringing up good points. Like, I will. I mean, if you're just being a fucking moron,
Yeah,
like,
that's very
bad
like,
faith.
if you're just antagonistic or an asshole, just like
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
said,
when I say
happy,
yeah,
mother. That's why me and Clint get along so well. We joke about it. We're like, we love our fucking echo chamber. The moment someone comes in like an asshole, it's just like boop, mute button. Never get, like, I don't give a fuck about anything you have to say.
Yeah,
so it's just like
I have so many more people muted than I have blocked. I have like 3 people blocked. I have like 25 people muted.
Yeah, I have a couple people blocked just because either they participate in my doxing. If anyone ever brings up my docs, I just immediately block them because I think you have to be such a piece of shit to do that like I don't even consider you a fucking human being at that point. Like, you're literally like, hey everybody, here's this dude's personal information. Like, go to fucking hell.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, particularly when it comes from the left, when the left will share my docs around. I'm like, you got neo-Nazis to show up to my fucking apartment, bro. Like, you helped neo-Nazis with this shit, and then you're still sharing it around. Like, you're a bastard. Sorry.
Yeah, hypocritical leftists are a fun time. Hypocritical right wingers are a fun time. Hypocritical libertarians are a fun time. Can we just fucking stop that shit?
So just ignore those people and get the people that are still good to focus on punching up, and then follow people that punch up. Like, I guarantee, I'll almost be willing to like put money on this, that you can scroll back my timeline all the way to the day I founded my Twitter account, and I have never quote tweeted like a normal person and like shit on them, regardless of how dumb their take was. I just don't do that because it's pointless. It doesn't fucking accomplish. Like, why? I don't have the. Maybe it's because I'm super late to Twitter, and a lot of people have been like in like social media forever, to where I've never been a social media person. But it's just so weird to me. I'm like, why are you doing this? What the fuck is the point? What are you accomplishing?
Yeah, I will admit I definitely have done that plenty of times, but not as often as a lot of people do. Not as often as Dave Smith.
Yeah, and again, this is no like shitting on Dave Smith. I love you, Dave. I think your comedy is fucking hilarious, and I think I think a lot of what you're doing is good. So no beef towards you, but god damn it, man, like, and it's not even like a lot of people, I guess they would listen to this and be like, well, what about Michael Malice? Like, Michael Malice isn't doing anything political. Michael Malice straight up says he's just on this site to like troll people and fuck around. So like his mentality is different. He's not trying.
He's not
to,
a
like,
part of the LP either. He doesn't speak for a caucus.
Yeah, like he's just having fun. Like, like people like Dave, people like me, people like you, people like Brianna and everything. Like, the whole point of us being on Twitter is we have a mission. So it's like, get back to that. let's do that more. Less quote tweeting fucking you're a school shooter, Mary, with 200 Twitter accounts with the Joe Biden fucking banner. Like, just move on.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. I went live last night with Rex Lawhorn and Kevin Hobby from Oklahoma. And we were talking a little bit about the Kentucky tweet. And I straight up missed that shit completely, right? Like, I didn't see it. I literally didn't even know what it said. While I was on live with them, I still had no idea what it said. I didn't know what it said until I went live later with Will Fite and Reed Coverdale. And Will read it to me, and I was like, oh, that's it?
That's the controversy?
Right, because I was in multiple meetings. I was like all day at working on campaigns and ballot initiatives, and setting up a meeting with a PAC, and setting up a meeting with a CPA for my new LLC, and like we're not on Twitter. Like, what the?
We're doing real shit.
We're doing real shit, guys.
And it's just like again, like outsider's perspective. Like I logged into Twitter and like half my accounts are bitching over this single tweet. What is Clint doing? Clint is getting into a debate with Seth Rogen about fucking libertarianism. And it's like, okay, so which one of these was the more productive like instance, you know? Like,
I mean, what I will say though is that Clint did that in the replies of that tweet.
Right.
So that kind of like falls under.
But that's what he was focusing on. He could have been like, because I noticed like there's thousands of other tweets of people arguing and whatever, and then you go to the Seth Rogen tweet, and it's not even like it is the highest like Twitter thread in that tweet, but not by that much. At least when I last looked at it, and like the only people that were participating in it were like our people, like us and Clint's fucking friends and everything of like the more reasonable, less like culture war-y, shitty like libertarian Twitter. Everybody else is canceling each other in the comments, and it's like, hey guys, you know that you have like a one of the most famous celebrities in modern America in this fucking Twitter thread, and y'all aren't like jumping in on this. You're yelling at each other in the comments, like again, like that's just like the outsider's perspective. It's like one of these instances is high school bullshit, and the other one might actually matter.
Mm-hmm. and then today, so we had that yesterday. Now today, what we have is
the reply tweets.
Right.
Reply tweets.
So we had a day of one whole half of the LP canceling and bitching about a single tweet, right? And we were like, and everybody else was like, you're overreacting about one social media post from one account. Like, what the hell?
Every time you comment on that, you make it more fucking popular, and it shows up in more people's feed, and you feed the fucking drama.
Right. But like the reasonable ones and the right wingers and the Mises people and the people that were backing up Kentucky were like, oh, you're overreacting. It's just one post. And then today, all those same fucking morons, minus the Unity people, went ape shit about one single Facebook post from Joseph Bishop Henchman.
Guys, this doesn't promote liberty. It's high school. It's fucking high school, bro. Like literally, like them tweeting back and forth at each other, of like, LP Kentucky is like the crazy uncle at your fucking whatever the fuck that post was. It's like this is embarrassing. Like if the Kentucky, if you think the Kentucky tweet was stupid and wrong and totally off base and immoral and you shouldn't have done it at all, like. It's more embarrassing from an outsider's perspective. Again, I'm an outsider to all of this. I don't know any fucking buddy in the LP really, like any of the caucus members, any of the shit going on. I'm not involved. I just check gold at the fucking election box. That's my participation with the LP. From an outsider's perspective, that is embarrassing to watch these motherfuckers like quote tweet each other and fucking like that is embarrassing. Just move on.
Yeah. And like, so what I will say is I think if one person has the right to like make one post, it is the chair, because he was probably getting blown up all day and it took him hours, and he posted once. He posted one thing where he called the tweet, I think he said it was gross and frankly unimaginative. And like, yeah,
okay,
Holocaust,
whatever,
right? And that's the take that the Mises caucus was freaking the fuck out about all day today.
It's like a fuck on, bro.
Right? Like
there's like I said, I even posted about it today. There's two acceptable opinions. If you have been calling out every single thing that has been pushing us towards fascism over the last 16, 24, 30, 100 fucking years, then that's fine. If you think all comparisons to Nazism is stupid and annoying, that is fine. There is tons of people that I will call out that ran around for the last fucking 4 years or 6 years or whatever, calling everything fucking fascist, and then suddenly became really quiet when Joe Biden got elected. And then there was the people that were complaining about everyone comparing everything to Nazis, and then the moment Joe Biden got elected, suddenly everything's fucking fascism. Fuck those two people. I will call those two people out. They're disingenuous and they're bullshit and they know what they're doing. Me, I do think the vaccine passport is fascist, but I was also talking about the fascist shit that Donald Trump was doing, and then Barack Obama was doing, and then George W. Bush was doing. And there's other people that have been from the very beginning be like, stop comparing everything to the fucking Holocaust. That's also fine. Like,
yeah,
those are the two acceptable fucking takes.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's kind of like JBH's take. And unfortunately, it's not the take of a lot of the people who I backed up last night. Last night, I stayed out of it, and then I kind of like at the end of the day kind of chimed in a little bit because I couldn't fall asleep, and so it was like 2 a.m. scrolling through Twitter, right? And I finally chimed in, and I made my voice known, and I backed up some people, and I like retweeted a whole bunch of like Kentucky's other tweets, like not that tweet, but just like a bunch of their other tweets, just to like stir some shit. I think I finally followed. Actually, I still haven't followed them back, but it's whatever. They have like 5,000 followers. Like fuck them. I follow like 4 of the state party accounts. Like
I only follow people that like post about shit that I'm interested in. Like I follow like Udity people.
Right, exactly.
That's just what I want to see. Like I don't view like I follow who follows me. Like no, like if you ain't on my shit, then I'm not interested in what you have to say, because I've been exposed to generic conservatism and generic liberalism for like my entire life, and I've been exposed to generic libertarianism for 12 years now. I know everything that's going to be fucking said. I know all the takes. I know how everybody fucking feels. Like I want new shit. I want interesting shit. I want people that are doing things that other people are not doing. So it's like,
yeah. But I was very
disappointed. And I will follow people that I'm like trying to like get on their show. Hello, Dave. I would love to get on your show. Dave posted about wanting to get like talk to someone from Antifa, and I was like, yo, I can hook you up, and he never responded. I'm like, come on, Dave. I got people that might blow your mind, Dave. Come on, let's go.
I might see what I can do about that. I'll try to pull some strings. I don't have very many of them, but I'll try because I want to see that shit.
Well, I think the libertarian syndicalist unity, like that is probably like the best, because most of the syndicalists are like more Green Party, People's Party people, even though now they hate them. Like I think the overlap there is huge, and there's potential there. Everything I do is doing that. So if I can do that on the streets, I don't see why that can't be done on the internet. So it's
fucking man. That's what we're working on here. But yeah, I was very disappointed today to see a lot of those people that I backed up last night turn around and do the same shit I was accusing people of last night and freaking out over one somewhat benign social media post from one random, mostly unimportant person.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I get that he's the national chair, but like also he's the fucking national chair. Like, when was the last time you saw like Tucker, or let's even go, when was the last time you saw Jimmy Dore go nuts about a Tom Perez tweet?
Never.
Literally never.
They focus on like AOC and shit like that, but like that's like the powerful people. We do not have powerful people. We have no one in the LP that can get on fucking Twitch and get like 2 million fucking viewers or whatever. We do not have powerful people. So why are we acting like crabs in a fucking barrel, pushing each other down to get out of the top? It's insane. Like, again, like not to go back to that rant, but like nobody in the party has any control over cops kicking in people's fucking door for weed and seizing their property. Nobody in the party has control over the culture. Nobody has control over the military. We have no voice in any of this shit. We are an outsider to politics, even local fucking politics. So it's like, can we stop, please? Like, son of a fucking bitch.
Son of a fucking bitch. We'll go back
It's
to the oldie but goodie and the stupid shit.
Yeah, stop it. Like just again, punch the fuck up. Punch the fuck up. cut the feet out of the Republican Party, infiltrate the GOP and tear it fucking down. Go after the Green Party people. Go after the fucking, go after the more like the few libertarian people in the Democratic Party. Pull them in. Meanwhile, attack the most powerful fucking people in the country. Attack these fucking celebrities and these fucking, again, lizard people ass fucking motherfuckers that have nothing in common with the American people. Go after them. Punch up. Go after all these motherfuckers. Stop fucking arguing with Brianna. Stop fucking going after Nick, whatever. I'm going to call Stallwork. Stop going up. Stop memeing on Nicholas Stallwork. Like, just fuck, dude. It makes me so mad because this is so exclusive to like us. Because if you look at the Democrats essentially like own the fucking country. Essentially, the Republicans do literally nothing. They're just like an inert, like nega party. I don't even know why they exist. They don't fucking fight for anything. They don't accomplish anything. They just piss people off and exist. That's pretty much all the Republican Party fucking does. So like,
they piss people off and exist.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds like what I would say I exist for.
Are you a Republican? You did work for nothing.
I might be.
Shit.
Oh my god, it's all been a lie.
The elephant's just growing out of your chest. Yeah, so that's what they're doing. So it's like, okay. And then you have the LP. Where it's like the LP is just fucking running around screaming into the void about shit that don't matter. It's like, stop.
Right.
Stop it.
But we're also getting 33% in Senate races in Arkansas.
Well, yeah, because that's like the local, when people actually just do shit. Because
That's not local, that's Senate. That was a federal like Senate.
No, local in terms of like that's just Arkansas. That has nothing to do with the libertarian movement. That's Arkansas, done by Arkansas people and everything. Like, so if you just take all that energy and attack this shit, I'm like fuck yeah. Like again, we had Rainwater. You had what's her fucking name that got elected as mayor in like the first day, just like canceled all like traffic tickets and like decriminalized weed and just like fucking wiped out the laws like her first day. Do more of that. Like focus. Beautiful. Like if I was, I don't want to come. I'm starting to get buzzed, so I have to be careful because I get less diplomatic when I get buzzed. But again, I don't want to go after like Dave like too much because I love him. I love him to death. But if I was Dave, if I was running Dave's Twitter account, every single day I would be tweeting out some no-name motherfucker that was running for like the Chamber of Commerce in his population 300 fucking town and be like, look at this guy. Look at, just like all like this guy's a libertarian and he's running for bumfuck New Jersey's like city council. Like, just like that kind of shit, That's the whole reason like my show, the UVA, United Voluntary Action, what we do is we platform local activists because nobody ever talks to local activists. Like they'll be like, oh, this is a George Floyd event. And then they'll give like a 3-second clip of the organizer saying some generic BLM shit. And then they'll move on. Where I'm like, no, hey, tell me what the fuck is going on in your community. Tell me what the fuck you want. Tell me what you're trying to accomplish. Like, I want to talk to people like Rainwater. I want to talk to like these local fucking people, So it's just like that more, because we simultaneously focus too much on the national shit and too much on the presidential election. And that's like half of our energy. And then like the other half of our energy is just pointless fucking bickering. So it's like, take that bickering and just get the fuck off of Twitter and like focus locally and like get a libertarian mayor,
and then get 10 of them.
Yeah. Take over from the ground up because I told the story at the house all the time, but this is the most important story fucking ever. And it ties everything together of like what I'm about, what you're about, all this whole conversation of what, when I started in activism, the DSA was like a dirty word. Like socialism was a dirty word in America. There was no DSA people running for anything. They had no position of power or whatever. But at every single event that my ass ever went to as a left-wing activist, there was a tent or a DSA activist there handing out flyers and talking to people, whether it be a tree getting cut down, whether it be a police brutality event, whether it be like a cleanup operation, like any left-wing event, the DSA was there. And I saw them get like booed and like yelled out and like their tent flipped and organizers asked them to leave. I've seen all of that, but they still showed up to every single event for 8 years. And who the fuck almost became president of the United States just a couple years ago? Bernie fucking Sanders. So it's like, hey, libertarians, like, let's do that, because the DSA had less power than the Libertarian Party fucking did when they started. Less money, less capital, socially even more unacceptable than libertarianism is, because socialism, like we're talking like early 2000s. So like, if you went on like fucking MSNBC and said the word socialism, you were laughed off. You know, like this is the culture. And if they could build that up to the point of having Bernie Sanders essentially come in third for presidency, then like we can do that. But to do that, we need clarity of purpose, clarity of mission, and most importantly, what I preach all the fucking time, on the ground activism. Like I think Dan, with taxation and theft, Dan, that you just had on, probably did more to promote libertarian values than the LP National has done in the last fucking 4 years, by just like taking a couple dudes and going out in a park in Texas and just doing libertarian shit.
Yeah. Yes.
Like me personally, I try to be like very humble, and I actually am like super, I hate the fuck out of myself, but I will give myself this credit. You know how many people like in the inner city that like don't know anything about politics, and I tell them like, oh, like I'm an anarchist, but I participate in the Libertarian Party. And they're like, I've never heard of libertarianism before. That word has no concept to me at all. And I'm like, well, let me tell you what it stands for. And Mike Dunn's been kicked out of the movement.
Some cool shit.
Right. Mike Dunn has been kicked out of the fucking movement, obviously, at this point because of the shit he did. But I will still give credit where credit is due. BLM 757, which is like one of the largest BLM organizations in Virginia, had never heard of Joe Jorgensen, had never heard of libertarianism, had nothing to do with it. And after running around with a bunch of Boogaloo boys, ended up voting for Joe Jorgensen. So you're talking like, again, to the people that think that BLM is one certain thing in this giant monolith or whatever, just by on the ground activism, which we never do as fucking libertarians, he got a BLM organization to vote gold. Like, come to fucking, like, let's do this shit.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do this shit. Like,
right.
Get off of Twitter, get out of your fucking mom's basement, and go talk to people. Like,
or if you're gonna be on Twitter to get a BLM chapter to endorse your fucking candidate for city council.
Right. To do that shit. Like, get on the ground. Like, another great example is my one of my best friends, Mick. This dude in full Hawaiian with a plate carrier and a fucking rifle went in for, I think it was like 32 days straight. He just wandered around Columbus and just handed out fucking flyers to random people. Like, just talk to people about like liberty and freedom and justice and fighting the federal government and everything. And he just wandered around, just fucking talked to just normies on the street. And he had insanely positive like reactions from people and like a lot of progress. And the whole reason that we're even welcome as Boogaloo boys in Columbus is pretty much just because of Mick. Because Mick would sit down for like 2 hours and have a conversation with homeless people about like liberty.
That's dope.
So like, where the fuck are these people? Like, how is it me? Why am I doing this? Like
because you're awesome, dude.
I'm a shut-in, awkward, neat motherfucker. Okay, I should not be the dude doing this. So the fact that it has fallen upon me, and these people that are infinitely more eloquent and have more power and more capital and are not literally begging on fucking Twitter for people to send Cash App to keep his power on, people like me, the fact that I have to do this, like, come on, guys. So like that's right. That's like a quarter, I guess, of what I'm trying to do is just continually yelling at libertarians to go do libertarian shit. Like, the internet isn't real. Nobody cares about it. Like, go out into your communities and steal every single left-wing tactic you fucking have to, and use those tactics of community to get people interested in liberty. And if I saw the LP doing that way more, I might like be more interested in personally getting involved. But right now it's just like online bickering and bullshit, Oh, door knocking before an election. And then we lose the election. And then we go back to online bickering and bullshit. You know, I never just see like a dude with like a vote for Joe Jorgensen shirt on the side of the road picking up garbage and having conversations with everyone who passes by. You just don't see that shit, you know?
So that's why I said to send people to People for Liberty, because they have shit, what is it called? I'm gonna look this up because I wanna promote it correctly. I'm gonna give them a little shout out here. People for Liberty. What is it called? They're doing an event here in a month or two. Called. What the fuck? Why is it not? Okay, their website is not great.
Again, graphic designers, media team.
Right. I thought they had that. They just fucking announced it like today. So I don't blame them for not having it necessarily up and all over on their stuff. But they are they just brought a new president on, which is Dr. Joe Jorgensen. And they announced it's like a day of personal action, something like that, something to that effect. I don't recall the exact phrasing that they used, but Dan Fishman,
the Mota hitting,
yeah. But they are doing a thing, and it's gonna be. It should be a good time. And it's actually something that we over at the Unity Caucus have been talking about, and so we're glad that Dan took that idea, because we were talking about it with him in a Unity Caucus meeting, and so he took that idea and they're running with it over at People for Liberty, and I'm excited to see that. They're doing some other things. They're training people.
You should get me into these Unity Caucus meetings. I feel like
I will
stir some shit.
will. Yes.
But no, you know what's the saddest thing about Joe though? She doesn't like us. The Boog. I have it at good authority and from many personal experiences and personal conversations that she does not like the Boogs. And that's sad. Spike fucking loves us. Spike thinks we're the shit.
Spike loves you more than he loves his wife.
Spike fucking loves the Boogaloo. And same with Vermin.
No.
Vermin and Spike are all about it. But like Joe was not down. Joe was not.
Let me actually rephrase that. Spike loves the Boog more than Spike's wife loves him. There we go.
What is it? What is it? They always introduce him as her husband.
It's great. He married up. Every libertarian marries up. Nick Sarwark married up to Valerie. He married up.
I need to marry up.
Far.
Hey, I'm open applications for sugar mama or sugar daddy anywhere.
Yeah,
please.
Mm-hmm.
Please, anytime.
Oh my god. So I'm not gonna lie. There was a time just before I got into politics, or like as I was getting into politics, running for office, and I was recently single, or like had been single for like a couple of months, and I was like, even in New York City, which is like one of the most populous cities ever, as a libertarian, it was like, how the fuck am I gonna find like somebody that I like agree with, that's like that I can stand, that I can like build something with, that would want to like be the girlfriend of a fucking politician, right? That's a hard thing to find, right? Somebody that's willing to put up with that. And then I like got really into politics, and I was like kind of just like decided it was not gonna happen. And then now I've met so many amazing women in the liberty movement who are just fucking awesome and absolutely drop dead gorgeous and brilliant and hilarious and encouraging, and like I'm like, fuck yeah, life is great.
See, I don't ever mean to ever check someone's privilege, but you think dating's hard as a libertarian and a politician. Imagine dating as a nationally known spokesperson for a domestic terrorist organization. I dead ass get matched on Tinder with people and they talk with me for like 2 days. And then if it ever gets close to the subject, they're Googling my ass and then they stop talking.
Yikes.
The last person I dated after I only dated one person in between me getting divorced and now, and they literally hit me with it's me or the boys, and I hit back with sometimes I miss her. So it's like, yeah, it's a lonely road being wanted by the federal government.
Lonely road. The only one that I have ever known.
It's just like I have imposter syndrome like a motherfucker, because like I always talk about it like, hey folks, before all this happened, I literally painted D&D miniatures for a living. Okay? That's what I did. I played League of Legends and I painted D&D miniatures for a living, and I went to the gun range and I shot guns. That was me. Like, and then it hit the point of like, oh, there's all these articles about me and my stupid friends. And then it hit the point of like, oh, here's a Department of Homeland Security memo labeling us as a domestic terror organization. And then like, I'll have to send it to you, or you can Google it. If you Google, there's an article by Medium that it's called "The Most Dangerous People on the Internet in 2020," and it is a picture of me, Mark Zuckerberg, and Donald Trump as the headline photo. Like, I highly recommend like looking at this and pulling up the image because it is so funny.
Okay, hold on. We'll do this real
Most
quick.
dangerous people on the internet in 2020. It'll be a Medium article.
Oh, that's not it.
You find it?
Yep.
Just this picture is just the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like literally, like just knowing me, look at that picture and just absorb the preposterousness of the fucking image.
All right. We're working on it, people. Bear with me as we upload on shitty fucking satellite internet. Boom. The most dangerous people on the internet.
That's literally my smiling goofy ass between Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump.
This
I want
is
that
beautiful.
I want that fucking framed and put on my wall, dude. And I always joke like they could have picked a dozen images where I look like mildly more intimidating. They picked the one where I have just the biggest stupid fucking smile on my face.
Right. Even in the episode graphic, you look a little bit more intimidating. So
well, that graphic, like I said, that was in front of the Department of Justice, staring at the headquarters of the FBI. So what I was looking at was the headquarters of the FBI. That's why I had that look on my face. And I was going on a big rant about all of my friends that they had arrested illegitimately and how they need to free them and that they're a bunch of fucks and that we're coming for them. So like,
nice.
So that's why I had that look on my face.
Endorsed. Heavily endorsed. Well, Magnus, before we go, I want to give you a chance to shout out what you're doing, shout out your channel, shout out your show. How can people help you? How can people support you? How can people start training and getting involved and getting ready?
So that's actually perfect. So I guess there's the usual thing. I'm at Twitter at Magnus Panvidya. I have a YouTube channel, Magnus Panvidya. I run a activist organization called United Voluntary Action, which is just kind of it's specifically designed for putting different activist groups together to show up to events. So like we'll get like, oh, do 3%ers and BLM agree on this issue? Let's get them to work together here. So that's the whole point of the UVA. And that's kind of what we do on the UVA podcast. And then I'm currently working on, we showed it earlier, that graphic. I don't know if it'll turn out being a book, if it'll just be like a flyer or a pamphlet or something like that. But I'm working on this kind of idea of the 4 weapons of the revolution. I will be like making like graphics explaining like what each one of these words mean and practical ways to put them into use. And it might turn into like a whole ass book eventually. Nice. And then we're doing the Anthony Hulin event, which is going to be this Saturday in Lansing. We have people traveling all over, so if you want to show up to it, feel free. And I might be going back to DC on the 11th. I'm not sure. I'm still waiting to hear about that. But yeah, and if you want to support me, I have a fucking Cash App listed on my Twitter. All of that money literally goes to making it to where I can afford to travel all over and do all the shit that I do, because I work a minimum wage job. So my bed is behind those flags. This is the entire apartment. This is everything. This is my whole house. So yeah, I'm not a wealthy individual. So if you want to help me out, continuing to travel around and blowing people's minds and getting pictures of me with like communist activists and we're like hugging and being cool while I'm still talking about like libertarianism and freedom and shit like that, hit me on there. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, Magnus, thank you so much for coming on the show. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We love you. Thanks for keeping us as a thing and giving me something to do with my life and giving me a voice to promote cool, awesome people that are out here doing shit. I mean, Jimmy Dore's promoting you, so I guess you don't really need me. But you know,
Jimmy was helicoptered in. He just like got me on the show once and then just like,
yeah.
Y'all are keeping me going. You sustained me.
That's fair. That is fair. I'm doing my best because you deserve it, because you're a good dude. Guys, thanks for watching again. Magnus, thanks for coming on. Until next time.
Deuces. I do look so scary on that picture.